almost feel like Gordon Bombay would have taken his career to even further heights.
Everything's flashy, everything's cocaine, everything's
Fun.
Open wide for some soccer!
I don't care what your personal thoughts are at home. I care that you hate the
Call
Cowboys.
this college rule!
Welcome, everybody, to the Sports Experience Podcast. I'm Chris. This is Dom. Please go to our YouTube. Check out our new shorts. They are absolutely killing it. We actually getting a bunch of views. So thank you, everybody that's been checking that out. And today, we're back in the diamond, baby.
We're back on the diamond, Chris. And who do we have?
Nomar Garciaparra. Really a great Boston Red Sox that we'll get into what happens that is kind of unfair with him not winning a World Series.
And almost like our last episode where it was cut short for one similar reason.
That's true.
But not all the reasons.
Oh, God, no.
No, not all of them. Anthony Nomar Garciaparra, born July 23rd, 1973 in Whittier, California.
Yep.
His dad's name was Ramon, and Nomar
is backwards for Ramon.
Yeah, which
it's beautiful.
I wonder when overprivileged white women are going to start doing that with kids' names.
I like that.
Just because then you'll just start seeing them like that. They'll find out who Nomar is. I don't know if because of this podcast, but they'll find out and they'll be, I like that. Looking at you, Gwyneth Paltrow. Looking in Cypress Hill, I'm looking in your direction. Did somebody order a London Symphony Orchestra?
They huddle up. Did we do that? Yeah, they're with us.
Now this I like.
God. Somebody did this while high.
Cypress Hill. So his dad was a graphic artist, but he loved baseball.
He loved baseball.
Mexico.
Yep.
And he would have a little incentive game with Nomar. You want to talk about that?
In Little League, and this is what everybody says made him such a great hitter because his dad would give him 25 cents for a hit and would take away 50 cents for a strikeout.
You go through a slump, that piggy bank is not surviving. Like, you got to know how to hit.
He's still in debt to Ramon. That's all I'm saying. I saw that even in his young, Little League career, his teammates and coaches were like, oh, no. It was almost like he was training for, an MLB team. He was very focused at a young age, and it had to do with his dad. There's no way that his dad wasn't, instrumental in his focus in baseball.
But it's not like Marv Marinovich where, it goes bad because he's obsessed. I did read, much like Keith Hernandez's dad, he drew diagrams and situations and taught him different. He said Nomar said as a kid he could play any position he wanted to because of all this. Yep. And it's like, I don't need to know what an isosceles triangle if I know what 6-4-3 means.
Well, he literally was Benny the Jet. So I mean,
that's right. Oh my God. Sequel to the Sandlot. I'm going to tell that one later.
Please do.
I will.
I love that.
Later
That's
tonight.
one of my favorites.
So much fun.
We're talking comedy. All right.
Comedy. Anyway, Nomar, he played more than baseball growing up.
Yeah.
Much like almost every
Everybody.
episode. You didn't hear him playing anything but basketball, but Nomar for sure. Playing soccer and football. Both kinds of football.
There you go.
There we go. At St. John Bosco High School in Bellflower.
I don't know if you know this, but Bosco is actually my passcode to get into my account.
Is it wrong that was the first thing I thought of?
Immediately when I saw that, I was just like, okay. Bosco!
Costanza lets him burn. Come on, man. So anyway, he was an all-star midfielder.
Yeah.
In soccer, and he was a receiver on the football team and a place kicker. Which, number one, it pleases Hank Hill because he's not doing it barefoot.
That's true.
But it's pissing the hell out of Norm Van Brocklin that he's a soccer-style kicker.
But you could just tell he's extremely athletic, but I think everybody could see that baseball was his
It's his thing.
Sport. Yeah.
It's his thing. As a senior, he hits .492, California's all-Southern sectional team.
Yep.
And in the 91 draft, he's selected in the 5th round. So I know we've talked about, guys who are high schoolers. Some are like Bonds who will go, round 2. But, going in the 5th round is pretty high.
You normally see them go in, the 12th round. You know what I mean?
Who aren't, the elite of the elite.
Yes.
But he's drafted in the 5th round by the Brewers. And it's a shame he never got to be a visitor there because Milwaukee's had all sorts of visitors.
So many. You know what Milwaukee stands for?
What?
It actually is Milwaukee for the Great Land.
They're the only city to elect 3 socialist mayors.
Does this guy know how to party or what? Elects to not go to the Brewers and goes to a very good Georgia Tech team.
Very good Georgia Tech. One that's kind of built all at the same time.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. So he joins teammates Jason Varitek, a future teammate. And I think he played with Jay Payton also at one of the
really?
stops too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, like in Chicago or somewhere?
Somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of where he played. Right now I'm like, I can't.
I think he was. Well, I'll figure it out after the podcast. 92, he's named ACC Rookie of the Year.
Yep.
He made the 92 Olympic team as not only the only freshman, but the only walk-on to the team to make it.
I saw that, which is awesome.
And that's what you see at every level with him. It's never too big.
No, it's not. He's ready for any situation. And just to be, I don't even think we brought this up, but he's playing shortstop.
Yeah.
So he's playing your most important defensive position. And on top of that, he just hits the shit out of the ball.
He's a great hitter. Just a fantastic hitter.
Thank you, Roman.
93, even though he's nicked up by injuries, they win the ACC championship.
Yep.
He wins the Cape Cod League championship as well.
Yes.
That summer. And he's actually in that league's Hall of Fame as well. But in 94,
yeah, they go to the College World Series and end up losing.
Well, he plays hero, though, in the semifinal. Did you see anything about
Yeah.
that? Top of the 12th, he hit a... Remember when college baseball used to just let him use those ridiculous metal bats?
Yes. The sound of those. It was insane.
The scores of the games were like crappy D1AA football games.
Yes.
And that was very entertaining.
Well, the sound really reminded me of Casino.
It did.
Now, let me... but looking at him coming out of Georgia Tech, it was the correct path.
It's a great school. It's not like he wasn't going to school.
That's right.
Yeah. But he's playing in all these big games.
Yes.
Even though they lose in the final to Oklahoma, I guess in the ACC that year, he finished second in batting. Peyton was in front of him, and Varitek was the next guy.
That's ridiculous.
Well, they said he was the regional Midwest 2, the most outstanding player before going in the College World Series. Hit 53 runs in 5 games. That's how wonderful that kind of... It's like steroids without it. The bat has steroids.
The bat has steroids. There we go.
So we get into the 94 draft, June 2nd.
That's right.
And where does he go, Chris?
To the beautiful state of Boston. Red Sox pick him up and put him through their farm system, and he's one of those players that literally just like A, double A, triple A, where there's no... I think he only played A-ball like 25 games.
Yeah.
So
I was going to say it's like Bonds.
It's
almost.
like, yes.
Because you get these guys, if they're coming out as juniors, they're being drafted super high. They're already.
Yes.
They
know what they're getting.
Then exactly.
And they're just trying to work them into their system. He plays 125 games in double A. And then in between double A and triple A, I saw this where, and this is going to be brought up later, he gains 15 pounds of muscle in the offseason.
Which he can afford to put on his frame.
He was very skinny.
He was skinny, but when you're like 6'6'1", that's not...
Some say it was unnatural.
Some say it was... some people who said it was unnatural also believe TB12 was natural. I'm just saying.
Well,
I took notes, fucker.
I've never thought he was a steroid guy.
No.
He always has come out and said, no. In that offseason, I literally just worked on putting muscle on. And you're just kind of like, okay, I can kind of see
Almost
that.
like Sandberg. Saying,
Almost like
you're
Sandberg.
hitting in a new place in the order, new position. You're large. We want you to do different things.
Yep.
So this is because he doesn't start suffering stuff till later.
That's
that
right.
would be associated. So very healthy during this period. It's almost like putting on 20 pounds of muscle on a frame that can support it is sensible.
So in AAA, after he muscles up, he has one of these seasons, or even I don't even think he played full. He played 43 games
In Pawtucket, yeah.
Where literally you look at him and you're like, yeah, the Red Sox need to pull him up right now.
They need him. Yeah, they
Because
need him.
power hitting shortstops.
This is outside of Cal Ripken Jr., this A-Rod.
I was just going to say, they're really a few and far between. He hit 343, 16 home runs, 46 RBIs in 43 games. So I imagine the Red Sox were just... And he's a great defensive player. Like,
we've seen that with so many of these players we've done the episodes on where they're in AAA for not long,
yes.
or if at all, where
Yep.
it's just like super evident right away, like, oh yeah, you're going to be an MLB guy.
oh, yeah, you're better than our current shortstop.
So August 31st, 96, he's called up to the big leagues. 3 for 5 and a dinger and 2 ribbies in his first game.
Yep.
So sign of things because the shortstop position's his.
Yes, straight up.
Like it's like Ozzie Smith, you're my shortstop.
Yep.
No matter what happens. Only unlike Ozzie, he starts raking his rookie year in 97.
I was gonna say his 97 year is such an insane batting year for a shortstop rookie.
It's a low-key one of the most underrated rookie seasons
Yeah,
ever.
I think so.
Like, I mean, granted, I don't know. It's awesome.
30 home runs, 209 bases, 98 RBIs, 306 he bats. He had a 30-game hitting streak.
Yeah.
He was unanimous rookie of the year. So much so that like there wasn't even somebody else in that question.
Yeah. Silver Bat.
Silver Bat too.
He was an all-star.
Yep.
I want to bring this one up. 44 doubles.
Oh, I saw that. That's so good.
I mean, getting them all off, most of them off the monster.
Because
like,
I don't think there was something that baseball had that he wasn't good at.
yeah. It's like almost Robbie Alomar at shortstop. He got more pop, but like one thing he's not good at.
But he's literally the leadoff hitter in this lineup.
Yeah,
that's
that was the other thing I thought was crazy.
I love it so much, and you kind of see teams do that now, where they put fast power guys in the leadoff, but that wasn't really happening too much back then.
And this is at a position that's not associated. Usually, it's like an outfielder.
Yes, exactly.
Doing it.
Yep.
Ted Williams in 1998 said, "I'm looking at someone who is going to be good as anyone who played this game."
Yep.
Ted Williams said that. Ted Williams didn't like a lot of stuff.
No, he hated a lot of stuff about Boston.
About Boston, the media.
He ends up getting a huge contract, which was unprecedented for a rookie because they have him locked in for so many years.
It's, I think 6 years. So they could have kept sending him to arbitration for like the next 3.
Exactly.
I think. I didn't want to bring this up though. It's a 7-year deal worth $45 million, but they have team options in 2003. And they have a team option in 2004.
And we're going to bring that up.
Oh, this will come into play later. So in 98, he's even better.
Yep.
He's even, like, now he's a legitimate star in Major League Baseball.
And he's hitting 3-4. So he's hitting like cleanup. You know what I mean? So he's not leading off anymore, but really has an unbelievable bat. Like,
yeah. Unbelievable. Fidgeting at the plate too.
I like that.
Doing the hand jive or whatever with his batting gloves.
Yep.
God. That's why those Yankees Red Sox games always took too long. Freaking Nomar. You're the reason, Nomar, we got a pitch clock.
That's why we got a pitch clock. It was
the Nomar Garciaparra rule, the Nomar rule.
You are. He had 35 home runs, 122 RBIs in 98, and they actually go to the postseason, which I don't know if you know this. Red Sox were not going to the postseason a lot.
No, I think the last time those are probably their first postseason trip in 8 years.
Yep,
I think they won 92 games. He's the only reason they won a postseason game that year.
Yeah, they won one.
Yeah, they won one postseason game, and it was in Game 1 when he had a 3-run home run.
Yep.
So 99, maybe his best year.
Maybe his best year. I agree with that. And he has one of those games that shouldn't happen, but is so unbelievably good. Bats over 350. Just that is insane.
As a right-handed batter.
He had the first one to do this
Yep.
since the dead ball era.
Yeah. He wouldn't have even been allowed to play in that league. That's how long ago this was.
You're not wrong.
Or Boston maybe 20 years before that. I don't know.
Or Boston in 1990. And then again in 98. So he bats 357, 27 home runs, has another 100 RBI year.
Out of your shortstop. Oh, my God.
And then on May 10th, he has this game that will go down as one of the greatest hitting games ever.
Easy.
3 home runs, 2 grand slams, 10 RBIs against the Mariners. And I don't even know what you want to say other than that.
This was so much fun. This was so much of a fun era in baseball. Like,
power hitting guys don't get 1 grand slam. He got 2 in a game. God. It's insane.
Ridiculous. 99, they go to the postseason. We talked about this in the Kenny Lofton episode.
That's right. They beat the Cleveland baseball team.
The Cleveland Washingtons. The Cleveland Washington football teams.
That's correct.
No, that was Pedro's series. We had talked about. So if you listen to our Pedro Martinez episode, if you more information on that. And then they play the Yankees in the ALCS.
And this is the first run of, if you watch this era of Yankee Red Sox baseball, this is the first time they meet in the postseason in a long time.
This is probably the first time they've had any stakes since the Bucky Dent game against each other.
Exactly.
Like where they're both good at the same time.
He should have been backed up.
He hit over 400 in both these postseason series. Even though they lose to the Yankees in 5, but still, 2000, you could make an argument he should have won more awards this year.
I agree.
Hits 372. 372.
And this is the year that when the steroids start to come in, because he's batting so well, everybody else is on steroids.
Yeah.
I will take this. I don't think he ever took steroids.
Jeff Bagwell, though, I don't know.
Hey.
Another former Red Sox who was nice and skinny, but then gained some weight.
But if you look at his body, it's not like
No.
You know how those guys in one off season, you're like, that's like 50 pounds of muscle. Like,
best example for a middle infielder like that, Brett Boone. Look at him before and then after the Mariners.
Yep.
Like, that's more than what you saw to Nomar. It's just like, oh, the skinny kid started eating more and had a proper workout regimen.
I actually like to think of pre and post Jose Canseco. Yeah. So I had never met Jose Canseco, and then I met him, and now I'm fucking huge.
It's very true. God. So his OPS, he had a 1.033 OPS, the highest by a shortstop since 1901.
Yep. He gets a wrist injury this year.
Yeah, he ends up getting a wrist injury there. Yeah, I did want to add, though, from 97 to 2000, only A-Rod and Bonds were better than Nomar's WAR.
Yeah.
So nobody meant more analytically to their team than Nomar and two mutants. Like, two mutants and Nomar.
I'm going to do that a couple more times.
Oh, my God. Is that their speech impediment?
Well, there was a guy who did stats for like Barry Bonds, and he went through Nomar's thing. And before this wrist injury, he literally projected him as to having like an overall batting average for his career at plus 350 because this.
Yeah, he wasn't stopping. Like he's ascending at this point. I don't think he's more than 26, 27 years old.
Yep.
So yeah, he's got some ridiculous stuff. But like you mentioned, February 26, 2001, his right wrist starts nagging him. And it's been something that's been going back to the 2000 season.
Yep.
He has an MRI 2 days later and split tendon, I believe.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
And it really messed with him for, I feel like, the rest of his career. He gets other injuries, but this first one, you can kind of see it was just like, oh, this is where it kind of gets a little decline.
So they say he's only going to be out 8 to 12 weeks with a successful surgery. It is a successful surgery, but he misses 17. So he misses 103 games.
Yeah, he only plays 21 games in this season. So it really is a way bigger injury than anybody had anticipated.
Yeah, it's crazy. The following year, they have some shakeup at GM with the manager, with new management.
New ownership group. We've all seen Moneyball.
We've all seen it. Win 93 games, but they missed the playoffs.
Yep.
So they're still a good team.
He does come back and play 156 games.
He has a great year.
Yep.
Leads MLB in doubles this year with 56. He's an all-star. So he comes back.
Yes.
He's just not hitting 372.
He hits his 1,000th hit, which is, I think it was the earliest ever by a Red Sox, where you're like, yeah, he is this good. But now we get into... I don't even know what to say. Oh, no. I was about to say the new contract is the next year. This is 2003 we're going into.
So we're going into 2003, which is the beginning of those single 2-year team options.
Yep.
So.
And I saw they actually had a contract that they both agreed to.
Yeah. Well, so this is what ends up happening is they give him a 4-year, $60 million deal.
Which, appropriate.
He wants 68 because it's called haggling. And that's what you're supposed to do.
Well, he also said this. He was like, well, I want like a big bonus because it's outside of the salary cap.
Yeah.
There's so many
You don't
things.
have it. You're not paying the luxury tax.
Exactly. There's so many things. And he was like, you guys have this money. I'm your star. Let's make a deal.
It's not even that he's like an age star asking for it, just based on reputation. It's like, I'm arguably one of your best players still.
Oh, by far.
I mean,
I think so.
I
yeah.
mean, best hitter. Maybe no, because I think 2002 Manny gets there.
Oh yes,
But
you're
still,
right.
it's
You're
like
right.
I'm the most viable. I'm the fan favorite.
There you go.
That's the thing. I'm like, you can't tell me that. Come on, give me a little extra.
In Boston with that name?
I mean, God. They said no, or so he says. All right. After they tell him no, he's like, all right, 64.
Yeah.
And what does Boston counter with, Chris? Did you read that?
Well, they just flat out said they weren't going to give him any signing bonus, right?
No, they said, how does 48 sound?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So they were like, nope. They drew a line in the sand on that one.
That's wild for
Yeah.
your literal star.
Yeah.
Like-
it was pretty crazy there for 2003.
And then he has a good 2003 year. Like
Yeah.
Nothing throughout his Boston career ever. He didn't like deteriorate, but they just did not want to give him the money.
No, which is kind of insane considering who's the second highest payroll in baseball at that point.
Yep.
This is what always confused me, and I'm sure it's probably why it pissed them off for so long. Like, why would they do this? Like, it's not like he's a shitty part of their culture or anything like that.
It's not like he plays for the Pirates where their salary is like 20 million. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? He's literally playing for like these big ass market, and he's like, I'm your star. You don't want to pay me, and it's not a ridiculous deal.
Well, I did want to bring up, though, although they do pay low salary-wise, the cocaine restroom benefits with a mascot in Pittsburgh, that's where that money's going.
There's extras if you go to the Pirates. That's the thing that people don't understand.
Like, it's the incentives. It's like, hey, instead of a bonus, how about we buy the office lunch? Go fuck yourself, Deborah!
No, we're going to give you 15% off of the cocaine you buy from us.
Oh, my God. Show me your QR code. Yeah. Did you tip your parrot?
Thank you. You got to tip your parrot.
Chris.
That's something that many people don't understand.
Oh, man. So he's cooking into the summer, though, in 03.
Yep.
He has an overall good year. He's an all-star, hits over 300, 198 hits. I mean, 28 dingers, over 100 RBIs. Like, it's what you want. He's trusting himself to play. Who knows? He has successful seasons.
Big contracts.
Next two,
Yeah.
maybe he goes somewhere else.
Should be coming.
It should be there. He bet on himself, and you can't fault the guy for doing that.
Exactly.
He starts cooling down though, around like August, September,
Yep.
and
Doesn't have a great postseason.
does not. And there was a thing in the ALDS. They're down against Oakland 2-0 in the series after winning one of their games. He was mad at his teammates for celebrating.
Yeah. Because he was like, we haven't won anything.
We haven't won anything, and they're just going to rip us if we don't win.
Yeah.
Like, so he becomes, and his head coach later will say about it, he becomes very, I won't say jaded, but just like, God damn it, really?
Yeah, bitter, and which makes sense when you see how it kind of laid out.
Wish he would have played in California. Except for, not for the Dodgers.
We all know what team you're talking about.
I know. But they end up going to the ALCS. They end up beating Oakland in that series, and that is the Aaron Boone series.
Yep.
Where they basically just fuck it up.
Well, the Yankees end up beating him again.
And in this 2004 offseason, it's not just that they're turning down extensions, they're outright trying to get rid of him.
And he got extremely angry with that because they were listening to offers from the White Sox, and he was like, I'm not going to the White Sox. Like, it was...
So basically, what they were trying to do at the time was they were trying to get A-Rod from Texas.
I saw that.
So they were trying to get A-Rod, and if you're going to get A-Rod, you got to move Nomar.
Yep.
So it's like, what are you going to end up doing? So they offered him to Chicago for Maglio Ordonez.
Oh, yeah.
And I've heard Terry Francona talk about, I was envisioning a lineup with Maglio and freaking A-Rod.
And A-Rod.
Like as a 3-4 combo.
Yeah.
That would have been, and with Manny,
and
3-4-5.
That would have been
Or if they
insane.
would've- I don't know if it would have traded Manny or to Texas, but still, that
Yeah.
would have been ridiculous.
Because Manny was on the block to trade for Alex. That was, I think, the...
Well, yeah, because he was the only person making, I think, nearly as much money as A-Rod at
Yep.
that time. Like, it wasn't A-Rod level, but to pry him from Cleveland, they paid a lot.
Yes.
But starts spring training with an injury.
Yeah, Achilles. And
Press were riding him for it.
doesn't play a lot, and his defense is down because his mobility is down.
Yeah.
So, like, you kind of see that where it's kind of like he doesn't have the best defensive year. He's getting a couple of nagging injuries, and you could just see Boston's ready to move him.
Yeah. There was an incident July 1st where they played the Yankees, and he was only one of two position players not to participate in that game.
Yeah.
The game of games for both fan bases. So that's like, and he's not meshing well with the newer guys coming in.
I was going to say, you can almost see the writing on the wall.
Yeah, you can see the writing on the wall. Kurt Schilling's writing it with his own blood
That's true.
from his sock.
From the sock.
But no, so he's not playing a lot. He's not getting along with some of his teammates. Some of his teammates are actually criticizing him.
Yep.
As well. But what ends up happening on July 31st, 2004, they get rid of him.
Trade deadline.
Deadline.
On the trade deadline, that's when you're not allowed to trade anymore. They end up trading him to the Cubs in a 4-team deal.
They acquired through this deal Doug Mankiewicz to play backup at first base.
Yep.
And then shortstop Orlando Cabrera, who was very good with the leather.
Yes.
Very good with the leather. And sometimes it's like just addition by subtraction.
I agree.
In a way, like where it's like, it's not going well for either of us.
You're a great individual player, but you're not meshing with our team, and we're trying to win a World Series. They trade him, and then what do the Red Sox do?
They lose again. No, they end up winning.
The Red Sox win the World Series this year, and Kurt Schilling actually had a...
Oh, he's traded to the Cubs.
He's traded to the Cubs. I don't
He's
know.
traded to the Cubs. They're in the midst of their own century of rebuilding.
But Kurt Schilling literally said,
Saw
he just
this.
goes, without Nomar, we wouldn't have been in the position to win the World Series. And you're like, that's what you want to hear when you get traded mid-season
Yeah.
from a World Series winning team,
know.
you want to hear some shit like that.
Oh, God. Kurt Schilling says a lot of things. Tough man, can't breathe. No, he was also quoted as saying, if it wasn't for Nomar, there are a lot of people who would not have come and played here.
That too. Yeah.
Like a Ramirez, like a Martinez, like a Schilling.
Yep.
Like core of that. Like Mo Vaughn's tits were getting tits by the end in Boston. Like Nomar's
true.
all you got.
Nomar's all you... And you're right. He
Before
was...
Pedro, that's all you got.
Yes, he was a name that brought other names in.
So, yeah, that very important player.
And he traded to the Cubs. He thought he was going to get a bigger, or at least a longer contract.
Yeah. But then it's like, man, if you couldn't stick it out with them, how much faith is the front office going to have in you? And you're already, your wrist is giving you problems.
Your wrist is still giving you
And
problems.
You're
It doesn't
not as good a defender as you used to be.
doesn't go away. So they give him 1 year, $8.25 million. He has injury problems this whole season. He tore his left groin. He's out for 3 months. And Dusty Baker, who's the manager at the Cubs this time, they kind of have a talk. And Nomar actually says, hey, I think I should move to third.
Yeah.
I think they had a third baseman who ended up getting injured. But he was still like, I think I'll be better for us at third base.
Yeah, like I'm not going to be a liability.
Exactly.
Over here. After that 2005 season, that December, he comes home, starts playing for the Dodgers.
Yep.
And in 2006, when he's healthy, he's fantastic.
I was just going to say, so this is the first year, 2006, that he's healthy for like the last 3 years, and he puts up those numbers.
Like, it's similar numbers to what you were seeing before the wrist injury. So it's like, oh, this doesn't seem out of place at all. In that year, he hits 303, 20 dingers, 93 RBI. Comeback player of the year, Chris.
All-star.
All-star.
First time since 98, I think. I don't know.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, and then I saw this because he's still playing third. Or no, I'm sorry. He moves to first.
Yeah.
For the Dodgers, and he only has 4 errors in like this first span of playing for first base. And you're like, oh yeah, he's still a great player.
Those baseball quizzes from his dad, they really paid off.
That's true.
Yep.
Like you said, he could play any position.
That wait and see attitude really paid off.
Yep.
Unfortunately, they swept by the Mets in the postseason that year. And then in 2007, another decent outing, but he's getting hurt.
But he also got a 2-year contract here for 18.5, and people were saying, like, this is the first 2-year contract, which he actually deserved, but he declines again.
Yeah, his body breaks down on him. 2008, he has a microfracture in his hand.
Yep.
Which you don't want. You just don't want. They make the postseason. He plays against the Phillies, but,
They get destroyed.
People are scaling the facade at that game. Scaling
You know what?
it.
Riot punch is a real thing, boys.
Can we talk about steroids?
Oh, God, that's so good.
Oh, signed with Oakland in 2009.
I was going to say, so 2009, Dodgers are not going to re-sign him. He goes to the A's, who we all know pay nothing.
They pay nothing. They don't even have parrot insurance or incentives.
You have to buy your own sodas.
You have to buy your own cocaine at market value.
The Pirates are like, look, we get that they're going to pay less than us, but it actually comes out as more because we have all these incentives.
It's distributed by Al Davis in the bowels of the Coliseum. Not a happy-go-lucky parrot that looks like a pirate.
Oh, God.
Then kind of towards the end, Al Davis looked like a parrot turning into a pirate.
I don't know if you know this, but Al Davis actually used to give everybody haircuts.
That's great.
That's what the Ace organization needed.
Anyway.
Anywho,
plays in only 65 games.
Yeah.
That year for Oakland. Pretty much DHing at this point, I think.
Yeah. I don't think he was playing in the infield almost at all.
But March 10th, 2010, he signs a one-day contract with the Boston Red Sox.
To go back and retire with the Red Sox. I love when teams do this.
Yes.
Especially with somebody that was such an important part of your franchise. Even when it was like down years, it's such a... I love that stuff.
He's a fan favorite.
Yes.
People like him.
Nomar.
So, right as of now, he's been doing sports media.
Yeah, he's...
For the Dodgers.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And he's actually really good.
Yeah.
Like, I actually like him as one of those, semi-commentators because they kind of rotate guys a lot, But yeah, I really like him, in the booth.
In the booth. Want to go over some of his stats here because... What would you say? Like he had 6 healthy seasons? 7? Maybe
7.
Maybe like 7 tops.
Yeah. Maybe even like if we're looking at it like 6.5 because it's such a weird thing that he had where it
313 lifetime hitter. That's really impressive. 1,747 hits, 229 dingers, 936 RBIs in that span. 6-time All-Star, Silver Bat, Rookie of the Year, 2 batting titles. First one right-hander to do it since Joe DiMaggio, like you said. That's come on, man.
Joltin' Joe. Yeah, I can't deny Nomar. This is one of those guys that you look at his career and you're like, oh, you should have gotten a 1-year extension and won that World Series. I don't know if they would have won it because
I don't know if they would, but would they have wanted him back?
Yes.
Either,
That's very true. That's very true. I just wish he had a World Series on his belt.
For sure.
Nomar.